After a lot of analysis and number crunching, Donald Trump will become the 45th president of the United States. Beyond all the political discussion, there was obviously a huge emotional side to the evening.
Well, one moment that struck a chord came from CNN political commentator Van Jones, who was part of CNN's panel discussing a possible Trump upset.
It's hard to be a parent tonight for a lot of us. You tell your kids, don't be a bully. You tell your kids, don't be a bigot. You tell your kids, do your homework and be prepared. And then you have this outcome, and you have people putting children to bed tonight, and they're afraid of breakfast. They're afraid of, how do I explain this to my children? This was many things. This was a rebellion against the elites. True, it was a complete reinvention of politics and polls, it's true. But it was also something else. We've talked about race. We've talked about everything but race tonight. We've talked about income. We've talked about class. We've talked about region. We haven't talked about race. This was a whitelash. This was a whitelash against a changing country. It was a whitelash against a black president in part. And that's the part where the pain comes. We don't want to feel that someone has been elected by throwing away some of us to appeal more deeply to others.
Such a powerful moment there on CNN. Again, that was Van Jones. Let's bring in Shagun for Plugged In. He talked about the whitelash. He talked about how this was, and overnight we saw all the rural counties, and that's where ultimately the voters came in. When you look at the breakdown, though, and you look at the exit polls, and you consider, Trump won 29% of the Latino vote.
Right, more than Romney.
27%. It's interesting to figure out, why are we not seeing those numbers different?
Well, let me first of all agree with what Van said and echo some of his sentiment. I'm getting married next year, and my fiance and I are sitting up watching this way into the hours of the morning, looking at ourselves, wondering, okay, now we want to start a family, and in the next couple of years, this guy is going to be the most powerful man in the world. Understand that a decade ago, this guy was a reality TV star saying people are fired, and now he's running the country, the most powerful country in the world. Melania Trump is going to be the first lady. Just let that swirl around in our minds for a moment, and then think about how it started coming, where you see the Supreme Court and the Voters' Rights Act and polls being closed in poor neighborhoods so that minorities aren't getting to the polls in the same numbers that they voted for Obama. But also,
so that's where you see that this is where the numbers failed to show that minority community.
For sure.
Talk about the line.
Well, think about it. If you are paid hourly and you have to stand in a 4-hour line, you are losing income. It's on a Tuesday, for goodness sake. So look, it took me 14 minutes to vote here in Los Angeles, but I know there were lines in Mississippi. I know there were lines in Crenshaw, in Slauson. I know because I was getting calls from my fiance's mom basically saying I've been here for about 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So you think that in some parts I can breeze through and vote, and in other parts I'm going to lose half of the day. And if you're paid hourly, that you're not going to be able to do it, and you're going to stay at home. I also think, and look, Trump is a master, and I know I'm not the biggest Trump supporter. I've come on here and said it, but I respect the office of the presidency.
Okay, so where are you today? Where are you this morning?
I'm an American. I was born here. I respect what this country stands for and what it's about. But like Van said, I see a repealing or a country feeling that they were losing itself. 8 years under a black president. The states that used to vote Democratic going tremendously red. We're Access Hollywood Live. We love The Usual Suspects. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled is convincing the world he didn't exist. A billionaire just convinced poor people in the Midwest that he's one of them. Are you kidding me? How does that happen? How do we drop the ball that much that a majority of uneducated white voters come out to support a guy that they can't afford to stay one night in his hotel? That makes no sense to me at all. And so you're looking at an America that it's not so much that I don't recognize it anymore. I just didn't think that the people who felt they were losing the country were going to come out in this type of a record number.
But here's the thing. They viewed him as a change agent, and they viewed change was what they wanted.
The bigger factor.
Ultimately, that's the bigger factor. It's not that I can't sleep in your hotel. It's more that something needs to change. And she will be a continuation of what has been. She is a has-been, and he is new and different.
Working white women voted for him at a rate of about 66% more than for Hillary. Hillary is the embodiment of educated and qualified and everything that you would want to raise your young daughter to aspire to be: Secretary of State, First Lady, a senator, all of these things. And working women voted for Trump even after all of the things that he said. So to me, that almost says that you were able to put past whatever your gender, whatever your morality might have been, and you looked at a candidate that embodied a lot of the things that you say and you are. Look, someone might cut me off while I'm driving into the studio today, and he might be from a foreign country, and I'll make a blanket statement about all those types of drivers and get out of my car and not feel I'm a racist. So when they look at Trump saying these things, I say that too. I know friends like that. I've made those jokes. Maybe I've laughed at those jokes. And more importantly, I want to be that guy. I want to be the billionaire. I want to be the reality star. That's what our society is now, where you don't have to have talent. You don't have to have qualifications. Just be a bully. Say crazy things. And in this internet, Twitter trolling age, that gets you more followers. And that's what he did. And he got followers.
We need to come together and heal, though. And that's the message, I think. Ultimately,
so Shagun, roll the clip with the cat with the bird. Shagun needs to see that.
Shagun needs to see that.
Okay, show it to me, because I need a laugh right now, because I'm scared.